Hi, welcome to Vicky Makes and Builds. Today's video is my second on the World Jigsaw Puzzle Championships 2023. I have put one out already. That was my puzzle haul video, all about the puzzles I brought home and the ones I took with me. So if you haven't seen that yet, go and check that out. So this is my second one, and in this video my aim is to cover the individual rounds of the competition, but also share my personal experience of the whole trip and my adventure in Spain, meeting Donnalouise and Janette and Jubie and all the other amazing puzzlers, and just how it felt to be there and what the atmosphere was like, what it was like commentating, and all of that as well. I asked not so long ago in a community post if anyone had questions for me about the competition, because I was having trouble kind of gathering my thoughts about how to approach the videos on this, and I wanted to make sure basically that everybody's questions and curiosities about it and my experience of it got answered. So what I'll do is I'll aim to answer as many of those questions as I can in this video, but also I'll answer a few in my next video on this. And any that I don't happen to cover, I will reply to you in the comments, or I'll do like a little Q&A or something like that. So I've got quite a lot to get through today, so I don't want it to ramble on for too long. So I'm just going to dive into it, and I hope that you enjoy. I just couldn't wait for the moment that I was going to meet Donnalouise and Janette and Jubie. When I got to the room, I didn't have to wait very long. They all flew into Madrid airport and then got the train over to Valladolid, so I met them there. And on my way downstairs to meet them, I recorded this little bit of footage here. So I'm in the hotel that myself, Donnalouise and Janette are staying at in Valladolid, and I got here first, and the other three are arriving together. So I'm going down to meet them because they should be here any minute. I'm so excited. So as you can tell, I was super excited to meet them. And the moment I stepped out of the lift, I saw them all standing outside, and the first person I clocked was Donnalouise. And I looked out and I went, oh, there she is. And then she saw me and we went running towards each other, and it was like a reunion. It was like we'd met before, but we hadn't met before, but we'd ran up towards each other and we gave each other the biggest hug. It was so nice. And then I went outside with Donnalouise and I gave Janette a big hug. Jubie's not really a hugger, so I gave Jubie a wee wave, and it was just, I was just so happy to see them all there. And you know, the first thing that really struck me about meeting them all in person was that they were all there in 3D. I know that sounds really silly, but I'm so used to seeing them on a screen that seeing them there all standing in front of me was just, oh, it was just strange, but it was so, so nice. So really that first moment on the Monday that I arrived in Spain was one of the biggest highlights for me of the entire trip, just meeting them. And then we spent the rest of that evening just getting to know each other and unpacking. We met up with Jubie later on and we all went out to find somewhere to eat. A few people actually have asked me what food I ate when I was there. On the first night we went to a place called Aloha Poke, and it was a place that did poke bowls, funnily enough. And the reason I say that is because one of the puzzles that was in the semi-final round of the individuals competition was a circle of colours puzzle called Pokeball. A little bit of a strange hint of things to come there, maybe, I don't know, but that was not Spanish food, but very, very nice. And we all just sat and got to know each other and chatted, and we all got on so, so well. So on to day 2, the Tuesday, and that day was all about practice for us. We scoped out a bit in the hotel, a part of the dining area where we decided we were going to practice. I'd taken several puzzles with me to practice with, so we all practiced on those puzzles. It was more concentrated on pairs practice because I'd never puzzled with Jubie before. Donnalouise and Janette had never puzzled together before. So we sat as pairs and we were doing the practice. We had fun with it too. Whilst Janette and Donnalouise were practicing on one of their puzzles, I did a little bit of filming on them and I practiced some of my commentating skills. So this is Team Janette and Donnalouise. Currently building the worst puzzle in the world. Jellyfish. At least I think that's what it's called. Not an easy puzzle.
Do you like these put like that?
Yeah, just as long as they're all in the same direction.
Yeah.
We can see that they are shape sorting, which is probably a wise decision on this puzzle. A lot of the same dark colours, a lot of the same neon blue. Donnalouise means business. She's standing up.
I know, my back, my poor back.
I know. I can't stand up for long, it just hurts. And Janette has now also stood up. So you're not only bending over the table, you're also bending around your tripod.
You have to record, otherwise it doesn't happen, you know.
Such is the drawback of being YouTube puzzlers. Okay, I'm gonna leave you guys to it. I don't know if it helped in the end, but it was fun anyway, and we just had a blast just puzzling together and practicing. That night, I believe we all went out for a wee walk. I think we had Mexican for dinner that night. So not much local Spanish cuisine up to now, but we went to a really nice wee Mexican place, and then afterwards we had a little walk around Valladolid, and I think we went to see where the dome was. We did the walk to the dome. It was just a 10-15 minute walk from the hotel, so we saw that and we took some photos on the sign, the Valladolid sign, which was right next to a really beautiful fountain. And we just enjoyed just soaking in Valladolid and again just still getting to know each other and just having a fun time. Before we knew it, we were on our way to the dome again, and there were some guided tours around Valladolid that we'd signed on to go to, and we spent a couple of hours just walking around Valladolid with a guide who was telling us some of the history of the place. There's some beautiful buildings and architecture. It was really quite warm and it was a long time to be walking around, so we were quite hot and exhausted by the end of it, but it was a really lovely guided tour that we took. And then we arrived back at the dome and the opening ceremonies started. So outside the dome there's like a big open space, and by the time the open ceremonies were due to start, there were a lot of puzzlers all standing waiting to go in. So we went and joined them, and there was just this buzz of excitement in the air. People were meeting each other and greeting each other, and it was just, I just couldn't wait to get in and see what it was like. I think the first person that we met that came to speak to us, I think, if I'm correct, was Steve from the YouTube channel Logic Master Steve. So one of the first people we met was actually another YouTube puzzler, and he came and introduced himself and we had a wee chat to him. So that was really lovely. And then they opened the doors and off we went in. So the opening ceremony was quite an informal affair. Which was nice. We weren't all just kind of sitting down looking at the front, looking at the stage. People were mingling, people were in about amongst each other, chatting, saying hi to each other. It wasn't long before we were having photos with people, and so, there's a lot of people just kind of mingling and just getting to know each other. One of the questions I got was about if there were any stands or anything in the Millennium Dome, like there would be at a convention or something like that. And actually there was a little bit. There was a table with used puzzles, I think, that people had put out there that you could buy. There was a wee booth where they were giving away bags, like goodie bags for everybody. So inside that bag there was the Ravensburger hat, which I was so chuffed to get. And I think there was one of these Ravensburger bags, but actually I ended up with about 15 of these things. So I didn't take all of them home with me, but I did take a couple. So there was that, which was really nice. We got a copy of the Spanish Jigsaw Puzzle Association magazine, which was really good as well. I don't speak Spanish, but it was lovely looking at all the pictures and seeing how many people I could recognise on there. And there was also a table where you could buy hoodies and t-shirts and things like that, customised hoodies and t-shirts where you could have whatever you wanted printed on them. So they were all different kinds of images and pictures based around puzzling and puzzles, and they also had all the flags that you could have printed on if you wanted to. They had the World Jigsaw Puzzle Championship logo that you could have printed on, and they had sheets with all the names of individual puzzlers, pairs, teams. So I bought one of those on that first day. It took a while because there was a big queue. So actually Donnalouise, Janette and I were all there right till the very end after everybody had gone, and we all went and we got ourselves a hoodie. So this is mine. I actually wore it in my video, on my puzzle haul video. So I just got this puzzle logo here. I got on one arm, I got the World Jigsaw Puzzle Championships there, and on this arm I got the Great Britain flag, and on the back we all got the team names because we wanted something with all of our names on it. And actually our team is quite near the top, the fourth one down, New Zealand World Pieces, and then it's got Donnalouise, Janette, Jubie and my name there. So we all got that printed on the back as well. So that was great. I wore this so much when I was there, when it wasn't too hot. So there were a few wee stands and things like that. And then as the competition went on, there was also a stall where you could buy the puzzles that were actually being done at the competition. So as the puzzles were released, you know, throughout the rounds, then that puzzle would become available to buy at the back of the room. So there were a few little things like that, but mostly the space was taken up by a large circle with tables in rows. And then there was an area around the edge where spectators could stand and watch, and the front was a big stage. So that was great. And then really the opening ceremony was just being welcomed, just saying hi to everybody. We all stood at the front and they took a picture of everybody waving and just celebrating the fact that the World Jigsaw Puzzle Championships were officially starting. And it was just great. It was a really lovely way to just go and kind of break the ice a bit, get to know people, get to recognise people's faces, go and meet people and chat with them and ask how they're feeling and just have photos taken and all of that. So that first day on the opening ceremony was really, really nice. And it actually helped calm me down a bit because I was so nervous. I think we all were just really nervous about the competition itself. None of the actual competition started until the Thursday, but that just really helped, just seeing the area and seeing all the other puzzlers there and just how lovely everybody was and welcoming and how excited everybody was to be there just made the whole thing feel so much less pressured. And I was still nervous, but I was really looking forward at this point to the whole thing starting. I really was. And so on Thursday, the speed puzzling began. So the schedule for the Thursday was all about the individual preliminary rounds. Now, there were a lot more participants this year than there were last year. So all of the people in the preliminary individual rounds were divided into 6 different groups, A through to F. And we had groups A, B, and C in throughout the morning and early afternoon, and then there was like a 2-hour gap, and then D, E, and F were after that. So actually Group F started their puzzling at 9 o'clock. It was a long day of puzzling, and Janette and Donnalouise and I and Jubie and I were all there for the whole thing. We all wanted to support each other, and we were all kind of scattered across the groups. So Donnalouise, for example, was in Group A, Jubie was in Group B, Janette was in Group C, and I was in Group E. And I was actually quite relieved because I was initially put into Group F, which was the 9 o'clock start in the evening, and I was like, oh no, I don't know if I'll have it in me to speed puzzle at that time of night. In all my practices, I'd been saying, you know, I don't think night time is a good time for me to speed puzzle, but thankfully they moved me into Group E so that I could commentate in Group F. So I was relieved. I actually did my puzzling at 7 o'clock in the evening, which was fine. And so, yeah, so I'm going to just start with Group A, which was Donnalouise's group. Donnalouise was sitting right at the front. Janette and Jubie and I all tried to find a space as close as we could to her, but she was kind of in the middle so we could see her from a distance. But let me just show you the puzzle from Group A. Here it is here. It's called Lupins. It's a nature edition puzzle and it looked difficult. Honestly, we all just stood there and were like, oh my lord, what is that? It looked hard, and I must say I really did feel for Donnalouise. You could tell this was not her preferred type of puzzle to speedrun. So just as an aside here, because I know a few people have asked about this, I just thought I'd mention to you that they took the decision at the competitions to remove all of the outer wrapping from the puzzles. I think the thought process behind that was that a lot of the puzzles came with the shrink wrap on, but some puzzles were now starting to have not shrink wrap, but stickers that sealed the lid to the bottom. But I think historically they've been quite difficult to actually remove from the box, and it's been a struggle for people to get them off. So they took the decision to remove all outer wrapping from the puzzles. So everybody who got a puzzle in the competition throughout the whole thing, the shrink wrap was taken off first before anybody saw the puzzle. All the little sticky tabs were removed, whichever one it happened to be. So that just took away any of that for every participant. So it really was just a case of pulling the lid off and then opening the sealed bag of pieces inside, which I thought was a really, really good thing and made a lot of sense. Although, I've got a bit of a bee in my bonnet about this. The shrink wrap actually was left on mine and Jubie's pairs preliminary puzzle, but I'll tell you more about that in the pairs video. So back to Lupins. Other than the fact that this was a really difficult puzzle, I think the standout sort of occurrence in this round was the fact that Kristin from Norway, who was in this group as well, she actually finished her puzzle with 5 pieces missing from it. Now, as far as I know, the puzzle pieces weren't found, they hadn't been left in the bag, they weren't on the floor, and so they must have been missing from the get-go. But nevertheless, Kristin finished the puzzle in second place with a time of 48 minutes and 40 seconds, which is an amazing time. First place went to Mercedes from Hungary, and she finished hers in 45 minutes and 1 second. So we had 40-minute finishes on this puzzle. It really was a hard puzzle. There were no 30-odd minute finishes here, and in fact, out of the 93 puzzlers that were in that round, only 34 finished the puzzle. So that is testament to how difficult that puzzle was, and I'm so glad that I didn't get that puzzle, but I did feel for Donnalouise, who did. But Donnalouise got through as well. Donnalouise qualified based on the country rule in this round. Right, so I'm going off on a slight tangent here. The country rule has been a subject of some debate based around the premise, is it fair for a participant to qualify based on being from a smaller, less represented country in the competition over and above somebody else that might have been faster? And here is my stance on the country rule. I think it's a good thing. I'm from the UK, there were maybe about 20 odd other people from the UK there, so I didn't benefit personally from the country rule, but I still think it's a really good thing. For this competition to truly embody a global, inclusive spirit, the country rule does need to apply. Having many nations represented throughout, in my mind, not only makes it more fun, but also appeals more to a global audience who want to support puzzlers from their countries. So I do like the inclusivity of the country rule, and I also like the fact that it brings speed puzzling to the masses, to the global masses more. If a range of lots of different countries can support their puzzlers throughout the competition, then that's a great thing for events like this who want to attract as many puzzlers from around the world as they possibly can. Secondly, and Donnalouise made this point in her video, and that is that many smaller countries cannot get access to a lot of the puzzles that are used in these competitions. So for example, the Circle of Colours puzzles, 2 of which came up in the semi-final individual rounds. Donnalouise, for example, in New Zealand cannot get those, and Janette in Slovenia has trouble getting hold of Circle of Colours puzzles too. So whereas people in Europe and perhaps the US and other countries that have greater access to these puzzles for relatively cheap, they can practice to their heart's content on all these different types of puzzles, and do in fact, whereas someone like Donnalouise who can't get hold of those puzzles, or if she can, it costs a whole lot more money to do so, then a fairness kind of factor comes into play whereby they're at a disadvantage really. So I do think the country rule in that instance is a good thing as well. But that's just my take on it. Right, so moving off that and on to Group B. Group B was Jubie's round, and let me tell you, we laughed when her puzzle came out of that bag. And I will let Donnalouise, who was commentating for this round, tell you why.
Because the funny thing was, we had the puzzle and we said, Jubie, do you want to try to do it last night? She goes, no, I won't have time. So she did not end up doing it. She's one of my teammates. She could have done it last night, but she didn't. But I see she's doing amazing.
So it was quite funny seeing her reaction when she saw the puzzle. She sort of shook her head, but she also laughed. You know, kind of typical, I could have practiced this and I didn't. But this really was Jubie's kind of puzzle, and she really shone in this round. She did so well. She qualified for the semis with a time of 1 hour, 2 minutes and 8 seconds, which I believe was a personal best for her as well. But the winner in that round was Teresa from the Czech Republic with that staggering time of 30 minutes and 38 seconds. Mind blown. Just don't know how they finish a puzzle in that length of time. It was just insane. We will move on to Group C, which was Janette's round. And Janette had this puzzle. It's called Archaeologist's Desk. It's an Amy Stewart artwork puzzle, and it's quite a busy image. There's a lot going on in there, but you also have the colour gradient sort of overlaying the whole thing. I really, really like this puzzle, and I actually built it at home. I brought it home with me and I built it at home, and I did it at the end of my puzzle haul video for Spain. But Janette blew me out of the water with her time. Janette managed to finish the puzzle in 56 minutes and 19 seconds, so she was below an hour, which was amazing. I think I did it in about 1 hour and 8 minutes or something like that. So that was really, really great. Janette qualified for the semi-finals as well, so that was 3 for 3. I was starting to get quite nervous at this point because I was in the more sort of evening rounds, and I was like, so everybody's got through. I hope I get through. I'm going to be so gutted if I don't. But I will come to that. Let's have a look at the top finishers for this group. We've got Anna from Spain, who finished this puzzle in an incredible 40 minutes and 46 seconds. And a whole lot of other top 5 amazing times in that group there as well. Okay, so moving on now to Group D, and I have decided I'm going to rename this round Showdown in Pisa, and I will explain why. So the puzzle for this round is called An Evening in Pisa, and it's actually another puzzle that I took with me to Spain to practice on, but it didn't come up in my round. Now, I think a lot of us were excited to see how this group went because this is the group with the reigning champion Alejandro in it. So if you've watched any of the other YouTube videos about the competitions, or if you have seen the live streams for this round, you will probably already know about the nail-biting battle between Alejandro and Katerina from Germany, who finished only 16 seconds behind Alejandro on this puzzle to take second place in this round. This was really, really exciting to watch. Honestly, the fact that Alejandro had such stiff competition this year, right up until the end, that round was just too close to call. Janette did the commentary on that round and they were all just like, who's going to win this round? Who is going to come out first? And you can see why it was so close. Incredible times from them, and indeed all of the top finishers from this group. So after all that excitement, we now come to Group E, which was my round. Okay, so to say I was nervous would be an understatement. I was really feeling the pressure at this point. I really wanted to qualify for at least the semi-final rounds. Janette and Jubie and Donnalouise had all already qualified for their semi-finals, and I really wanted to be able to join them. At the very least, just to qualify for the semi-final, I would have been happy with that. I was quite tired by this point. It was 7 p.m. and I had been at the Dome all day for every single round, and I'd been standing up for most of it, so I was getting quite tired as well. I'd seen really hard puzzles come out of those bags, and I'd seen a couple of easier puzzles come out of the bag, so I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know if it was going to be a puzzle I'd done before or not. I was a bag of nerves, basically, going into this. So just as an aside, I want to mention at this point that there was in fact a British documentary crew that was at the World Championships this year, and they were following the competition, but in particular they were following the British participants as well from the competition, of which one was me. And I'd already spoken to Catherine, the filmmaker, before I'd got to Spain. So I met her at the Worlds. I'd already had a chat with her during the day. So I was sitting at my table, there was a camera right there, and they were asking me how I was feeling and giving me a wee interview before I started the puzzle. I was just so nervous. I have no idea how coherent that interview came out, because I was probably a little bit tongue-tied, I think, if I remember rightly. But it was really nice having them there. It kind of added to the nerves a little bit having the camera there, but there were cameras all over trying to film the puzzlers finishing and things like that. So I was expecting that to a certain extent, but it's quite different experiencing it. So I was a bit nervous about that, but you did quickly get used to that. And I learned to just kind of filter that out as I went along in the competition. It's not known when or where yet that would be broadcasted. I believe they're looking for some post-production funding on it, but I really do hope that gets off the ground, because I think that would just be such a great thing to watch. And it certainly was fun to be involved in. So I want to just say a quick thank you to Catherine and the rest of the team for being there and for following my journey on that. That's been a real privilege as well. So anyway, back to Group E. The puzzle for Group E was this one here. It's called Springtime in Paris. It's not one I had ever done or even seen before. So when I got it out the bag, I was like, okay, not done this one before, but I wasn't too daunted by the image. I thought, yeah, okay, I can work with this. But my brain was obviously not quite working still at this point, because I had actually sort of forgotten that they'd decided to remove the shrink wrap and everything from the outside of the box. And up to that point in all my practicing, I'd been, ripping off the shrink wrap from the boxes when I was doing that. And I just instinctively turned the box over in order to take the wrap off that wasn't there. So I was a little bit daft, but apart from that, I got on with it, and I put my lid in my wee box lid holder that I'd taken with me. Now, I'm going to just talk about that just a tiny bit, because I got a question about my box lid holder from Siobhan. Here it is. This is the box lid holder I took with me. It's a pretty simple thing, just a flat piece of card, and it's got an insert cut out where you just slide the lid under. And actually this, Siobhan, is an Art and Fable box lid holder. I got this inside the box of the only Art and Fable puzzle that I own, and I've just kept hold of it, and it was flat and handy for transporting to Spain. Didn't take up very much space. So this is my box lid holder, Siobhan. So just in answer to your question, it's an Art and Fable one. So here's a little bit of footage of me building the puzzle. I did take my own footage, so you can see here that I decided to sort the puzzle. I just quick snap made the decision, right, I'm sorting, and I did that and I started to build. I did start to feel some frustration when I reached those pink flowers, which was the second to last kind of pile of pieces I tackled right before I did the white sky. And previously, when I practiced on puzzles at home, I had become frustrated when I'd reached more difficult parts of the puzzle, parts where I was slowing down, and I would start to get a little bit deflated. But I was determined not to let that mindset kind of sneak in there. So I just tried to make snap rapid fire decisions, and I very quickly decided to shape sort on those pink flowers just to try and get them in as quickly as I could. And I did the same thing on the sky, and I think that was a good strategy. I also decided that I would flat out refuse to look at the time even once. I didn't have a timer beside me, and in order to check the time I would have had to have looked up to my left at that big screen on the left hand side, and I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to try and stay in the zone. So I found that that actually really helped me as well. And then before I knew it, I was done. So this footage actually makes me laugh. That face I am pulling there is just basically me releasing all the tension that I'd built up in the run up to my round and in building the puzzle. I was so relieved that I'd finished, and I looked at my time and I was so happy with it. I didn't honestly know how long I'd been puzzling before. I'd heard the cheers of all the people that finished before me, of which there were 19. So I was really, really happy with my time. I did it in 1 hour, 8 minutes and 30 seconds. And I finished 20th in my group, which I was so proud of myself. I was really, really, really pleased with that. Just so pleasantly surprised. I didn't actually realise this until I'd done a few more puzzles in the competition, but it turned out that the competition environment actually was something that helped me be a better speed puzzler. I found that when I speed puzzled at home, there were just too many distractions for me. It was just not an atmosphere where I kind of shone at speed puzzling. And the competition, for some reason, once I was able to get into that zone and just focus purely on the speed puzzle and nothing else, that really, really boosted me and helped give me that kind of inner drive just to keep going, to make all the decisions I needed to do, just to move quickly. And it really did. I got some of my best results at the competition. And it's funny because I had this discussion a couple of times with Donnalouise and Janette, and because they found that the pressure of the competition had the opposite effect on them. But for me, the competitive sort of element of it all just really, really helped me to focus, and I found that I did perform better at the competition as opposed to at home. So that was me. I had finished my puzzle and I had qualified for the semi-finals. But before I move on to the Group F puzzle, I'll show you the top finishers in that round. Here you can see Laura from Spain finishing the puzzle in 47 minutes and 25 seconds. An amazing time for that puzzle, which I do not think was easy. I don't think it was the hardest, but I don't think it was the easiest puzzle either. And by the way, to get a good indication of the difficulty of any one of these puzzles, a good place to look is the WJPC website, which I'll link in the description. That has all the results from all the rounds of the competition. If you just go onto the website and click the results tab, and 2023, you can click which round you want to look for, and you just go down the table and it shows you all of the rankings. But one of the things it also shows you is people who didn't finish it within the allotted time, which in this case was 90 minutes, would get a number of pieces that they had assembled instead. So, and then that would go down according to how many pieces had been put in. So you can see the total amount of participants in the group, but you can also see how many people out of that many participants actually finished the puzzle. And that gives you quite a good gauge of how difficult the puzzles were in relation to each other. I do think that a lot of the puzzle difficulty aspect of things can be subjective. Some images just aren't for some people. Some people prefer other types of images, but it is a good indication of how tough these puzzles were in relation to each other. So for example, in the first round puzzle, Lupins, only 34 out of the 93 people in that round managed to finish that puzzle, whereas in Group B, the New York Postcard, 76 people out of 96 people finished that puzzle. So there's quite a big difference there. For my group puzzle, it was 46 out of 99 people that finished it. So now we move on to Group F, and I was feeling nervous all over again because this is the round that I would be doing my first commentating in. And on the subject of commentary, let me just say here a big thank you to everyone who was supporting me in the live chat on the live streams for my group. Obviously, when you're puzzling, you have no idea what's being said in the live chat, what's being said on the commentary. So I just had no clue until afterwards how many people were cheering me on and asking how I was doing. And it really was really heartwarming and lovely to see that and read all those comments and just see the amount of people that really wanted to know how I was doing and were asking about me. So thank you so much for that. And thank you to Annika as well, who was doing the commentary for my round. She was actually just a few feet away from me. My table was pretty much in front of the commentary table, and she was able at one point to just stand up and kind of lean over, and she could see how many pieces I had left, and she was able to give a quick update on how I was doing. So I do appreciate that, Annika. Thank you very much. But I really want to say thank you for everybody who supported me and everybody else in the commentary as well. That was lovely to read and see. So on to Group F, and here we have the first panorama puzzle that we have seen in this competition. It was called Summer Thunderstorm. When I first saw this puzzle, I really thought it looked tough, possibly even tougher than the first one. It was another nature edition puzzle, and it was a new shape to contend with, the panorama. We were also now at 9 o'clock at night. The natural light had all gone, so they were puzzling just by the light inside the dome. But as the round went on and the puzzling went on, it did become clear that this wasn't maybe quite as bad as we at first thought. It was quite neatly divided into two pretty equal halves, separated by that horizon. You'd got a gradient going on in the sky as well as that lightning bolt, and you'd got the grass was really only about 3 rows of the puzzle. Because of it being a wide panorama, it was only about 3 rows of grass, so it maybe wasn't quite as bad as I at first thought, but still quite a tough puzzle to do. I really would like to try that puzzle actually. It's one I hope to buy at some point soon and give it a go, see how I would have got on in that round. But let's look at the top finishers for that round just now. So we can see that the winner with a time of 49 minutes and 58 seconds was Soraya from Spain. And that puzzle draws to a close the first day of puzzling in the competition. It was an exciting day, a full-on day, 6 rounds, all day puzzling. I was there for the entire thing, and we were all quite tired by the end, but we were all just buzzing from the atmosphere and excitement of it all. It was just something to behold and to be present at. It really was. I was relieved as well, I think we all were, that we'd done our first puzzle. We'd kind of got that out of our systems, and we'd all qualified for the semi-finals, so we were so happy about that. So we had a lot more puzzling to come, and we were just excited for what the days ahead were going to bring. To say a quick word about the commentating, I really did enjoy it. Valerie and Julia, the commentators, were so welcoming and lovely. It was really nice just chatting to them and just seeing what was going on, having a kind of a first-hand view of it all. And it was fun to do, but I was nervous for that too, so I was maybe a little bit tongue-tied. Certainly my second stint at commentary, which I did during the first semi-final round, that flowed a lot more easily for me because I just wasn't as nervous. I'd done it before. But hopefully you all enjoyed it. I made some sense, and I know people have given me feedback and said they really enjoyed mine and Donnalouise's and Janette's commentary. So I want to thank you for that. I really do appreciate appreciate your lovely comments on that. It was a really lovely thing to be involved in. So I want to also thank Alfonso for asking me to do that. It was just, it was great. It was really great. And I think that that is a good point to draw this video to a close. I've talked for quite a long time. Obviously, I've gone over a lot of the run up to the competition and meeting Janette and Jubie and Donnalouise and all of the experiences prior to that. I've gone over all the preliminary individual rounds for you, so I don't want this to go on for too much longer. I'm not sure whether there will be another one or another 2 videos after this. What I'd like to do is bring them out in fairly rapid succession while the memories are still fresh-ish in my head. So do look out for those. They will be coming very, very soon. I really hope you've enjoyed this first recap video of our initial days in Spain, and I will leave you now with a wee time lapse of the Pokeball Circle of Colours puzzle, which was in the first semi-final round. It's a puzzle that I brought home with me. It wasn't in my semi-final round, so I hadn't done it before. So here's a quick time lapse and my time on that one. I hope you enjoy. I'll see you next time. Bye.